So this is the video about how I made Japanese Spring, which is one of my actually it is the most popular song I ever released. So I'm gonna run over the basics and yeah. So the first thing I did was creating a melody, which sounds as you already know if you listen to it. And it keeps looping throughout the whole song. There are some variations that I made that sound like this. And then the beat comes. So this is the small variation. I did this by cutting the patterns and the loop I recorded. I guess I used Edison to record this one. So anyway, this is the main melody. In the beginning, actually throughout the whole song again, is this lo-fi, I don't know how to pronounce that, noise loop. It is its volume has been lowered a bit, so it wouldn't be such so it wouldn't be so loud over the other instrument. It would sound really bad. The next thing I used in the beginning are FL keys. It's very underrated instrument. Rhodes, actually, this is a preset E piano, but for some reason it keeps resetting. So pan, I think I didn't use it, but here's how it sounds. So the basic Rhodes, yeah. We put compressor here. I use Serum FX for the most of the stuff. I'm not sure why I use this. I usually leave all the stuff I experiment with instruments, I leave them there, so it's kind of messy. Basically, the melody, I mean chords, have the bass note in the third octave. Some of them pass to the second octave, but it's okay. They don't sound that bad. Chords used here are I don't know how to pronounce these on English. I only know it on my mother language tongue. So yeah, I think this is D sharp minor, B major, C sharp major, yeah, and G sharp major, with a seventh here. So I usually put these like this because it sounds better. If you maybe place like this, it sounds very horrible. Like, yeah. So always put the third one on the top. Those are chords. So this is the background noise. It's from Sakura. This preset, it's really simple. You don't have to do any effects, although I did put compressor on it. So just the basic background to fill the emptiness in the melody. All in overall, this is the intro. I added sidechain. I usually don't recommend using this type of sidechain, but it kind of fits in this song particularly. I usually do it over the limiter, the fruity limiter, and compressor in that VST, but this was the better option here. You can also do the hybrid one. There are many tutorials on the internet, so you can just go and check them out. So sidechain, snare, classic snare. I didn't do anything on it, yeah. Hi-hats, I just added a little bit of reverb. Another open hi-hat. I think, yeah, only reverb. It's a bit, its volume has been lowered a bit. What next? Yeah, I wanted to go back to the melody. Again, Sakura, it's a plug, Touch of the Orient. I tried making it a bit lo-fi-ish sound, like using the pitcher, but it didn't work out, so yeah. Serum again, a bit of reverb, compression. I use a lot of compressions. EQ, this is what I did for EQ. Lowered a bit highs and mids. And cut off the sub and a little bit of bass, since we don't want any frequencies that makes the whole song a little bit muddy. So the next thing. So this is the part where the beat comes in. This is the beat, sidechain, no. Basic beat. You can do it in your channel racks. If you want to have that swing, like a groovy sound, you may want to make the beat here and just play with this knob right there, the swing part. I usually make it go to 100. It sounds really groovy if the melody is right and the whole beat, if it fits, but the sweet spot is like the middle 50%, around that. I didn't use anything there. I wanted to clean, precise sound. So this is the beat. Yeah, the classic beat. I left out, as you can see, I wanted to make one variation of it so it doesn't get too boring. So this is the first, let's say, variation, and this is the second one, where I cut the kick, the hats, and just left the snare and the hi-hats on the fourth. I don't know how to say it. Never mind, you can see it right here. Uh, what next? So I added a little bit of reverb, classic hi-hat. I added this like reverse thing, also added a little bit of reverb, and I cut the actually this, so it sounds like muffed. Usually it sounds like way more harsh, so just cut the highs if you don't want them to stand out. Classic kick. I didn't do anything on it, but I should have. It's like a beginner's mistake, but okay. Actually, I think it sounds very nice, even like this stock. Cool. So I added this percussion, like to go with the snare. It should sound like this. It adds that little crisp, like a small detail you'd probably don't notice, but it really adds up the richness of sound. This is the ordinary snare with that. So yeah, about sidechaining. So every first hit and the snare goes with the sidechain, like this. Also, you may notice the kick here. It is not sidechained. I personally think it's more of this is actually more of a personal choice if you want to sidechain it or not. But I think it's better without the sidechaining. I mean, it almost sounds the same, but I prefer it that way. So the next thing is the one more loop, nature loop. I cut. Oh, I didn't cut anything. So I added reverb on it, just a little bit. Too much reverb makes it muddy again. I did? No. Okay. So this is that thing, that sound that is in the background. Again, throughout the beat. I think this is the sub bass, yeah. So for the sub bass, I used a preset from EDM Soundbank. It's just the basic sub, like compressed again, probably, yeah, but yeah, compressed. You should always cut the sub bass at least throughout the half of the bass, like here. You don't want any high frequencies, mid frequencies on your sub bass. Yeah, so this is the beat in the beginning, that variation. Boom. The second part of the beat. So I added this particular loop. It sounds like this, or not. Sidechained. 1 second. Yeah, it's really subtle. You may notice it in a song, but it's not that loud. So I probably, I turned the volume here. The next new thing that I added on the second part of the beat is this piano. When it repeats, I removed the tam pam, those two notes right there. I use true pianos, but you can also use the FL keys. As I said, they're a very underrated instrument. Muffled, they sound muffled. You can play with the velocity controller if you have through pianos. Reverb again, and compression. Yeah. The next thing is this, the strings viola from Sakura. Again, compressed reverb. I think it sounds very nice, really realistic. This is the violin from the wait. Yeah, actually another viola, but this one is lower, so it sounds like this. Nice. Oh yeah, so this added a little bit of depth in the song. Again, viola, but this is the preset also that comes within this stock plugin. un.ku cello. It sounds super realistic. Maybe when it's in the stock, when you open this preset, it may sound dry. So you would probably need to add a little bit of reverb to it. This is the lower part of the melody chords, and it really fits the emptiness. And then when you add viola, it sounds amazing. Really realistic. For a stock plugin, this is amazing. So, the next thing is this small hi-hat. It's not noticeable, but again, I add percussions just to make it interesting. So this is the second part. Sub bass has remained the same, although I forgot to mention, here in these let's say 4 bars, so 1, 2, 3, 4, I added on the first and the third bar the sidechain, but here it is on every single bar, so it sounds like this. Yeah, make it interesting. This part has been just a repetition of this one, a small variation here, adding the beat without the bass. So as you can see, I left the viola there. So when it came to the stop here, viola, I didn't place it here. so it kind of sounds like something's gone, missing. Something has left. And we have the same beat, first part of the beat here. And yeah, it all repeats, kind of. What? Okay, so about the ending, just the basic volume knobs, automations, and frequencies. So it's like, yeah. So you, this reverb automation, it would sound really dry when it comes to an end. Yeah, we don't want that. This is here or not. I don't know where I actually placed that one. Basically, it's just reverb mix. I think it's on the 4th. No. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, it's this knob with reverb here. So I think that's everything I've done in this song. Yeah, it's really simple beat. This is my first beat that I ever made in the Japanese style. So it's really simple. I didn't use much of the FX. And yeah, don't overcompress stuff in your beats. I maybe did that here, but it turned out okay. So yeah, that's everything. Also, I should mention the master. When you are done with your beat, some people like to do mastering in the file where they make, in the project file. I tend to export this whole beat in the WAV format. So don't do anything here if you're gonna use this method. I have to find it, just a moment. So when you export that file, it's the best quality of exporting for mastering, I guess. Give me a second just to find it. I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, it's this one. So first of all, don't do this. Use like if you have one song, just use it on one song, mastering and stuff. What I did here was mastered all 4 songs of the EP I released. I mastered all of them here, like turning off these knob, mute and solo. So don't do that. I guess I use this one for the EQing, the final mix. I usually cut the highs a little bit and the frequencies that sound messy, like really sharp. Also, channel mode, mid-side. You can do it left or right, but mid-side is like the subtle EQing. I cut the bass. The next thing and I use FabFilter Pro Q2. The next thing I use is Isotope Ozone 5. I'll probably switch to the 8, I don't know. So, yeah, my CPU, that. Yeah, here it is. So, Hip Hop Master, EQ, leave it like that. If your sub bass sounds really low in the volume part, leave it like that, it will boost the sub bass. Dynamics, you can mess around with every knob. It's like if you don't hear the part you want in your song, this is your personal choice. You can gain or lower the sounds you want to hear. So like, yeah. The next thing, stereo imaging. You should always do like if sub bass should always like that, go like that. Yeah. For the mids, they should go a little bit wider. The third band also, and the fourth should go a little bit. Maybe even go to the mono. So, I didn't do this type of stereo imaging here on this particular song, but I have used this type of imaging on my later releases. Harmonic Exciter, yeah, you can play around with these. I left it on Tube and presets.com with it. Maximizer, the same stuff. So, for the last thing, if your track for some reason sounds really silent or like not as loud as you want it to be, you can go, if you have FabFilter Pro L. This is just basically a gainer, so you can gain the volume of your sound. I use the hip hop made for the beats extra wide and just, yeah, gaining. So that's the mastering and everything you need to know about Japanese Spring. So yeah, I'm really bad at explaining things, so I hope you enjoyed. And thank you. Bye.